Welcome back to our fourth session of Art as Therapy. I'm Yoko. Today, we'll learn about material, media, and process, and how we understand them in a continuum. We'll also gain understanding of their psychological or emotional impact in art as therapy. Material or media is an intermediary or messenger. It carries the ideas, thoughts, or feelings of the art maker to create the outcome that is in a tangible form or a sensual experience. For example, in a drawing process, a pencil is the material and a paper is the medium. An art maker may have some ideas and feelings about a subject, say a cat, and she wants to present it visually. The art maker considers how she wants to portray the cat. The art maker chooses to use a pencil and a paper because she thinks that the pencil and the paper would best deliver her message about the cat. So, the pencil and the paper act as the intermediary or a messenger between the art maker's ideas and feelings and the tangible form of a drawing. In the same example, another art maker may have different thoughts and ideas about the same subject. For her, she thinks her camera will best convey her feelings about the cat in a video format. So, the camera acts as the intermediary or messenger about the art maker's ideas and feelings and the sensual experience of a video. Let me introduce to you a range of material or media that can be used in art making. Since there are so many different materials and processes, how can we understand them? Are there similarities amongst them? And will grouping them help us to understand their different therapeutic effects? Let us explore them in a continuum. By definition, a continuum is a range of things or phenomena that we can group together in a relative sense under the same aspect. Firstly, let us explore the continuum of material or media. So we can categorize material or media in these four continuum. First one, in the practical sense. In this continuum about practical sense, so basically on one end are just found objects, which could be natural materials or man-made materials, that they have a pre-existing functions or purpose. Then on the other side of this continuum, there are these materials called fine art materials, which are intended for art making, so like watercolor or pencil. So I would say this continuum is according to their function and practical sense. Second is the physical or chemical properties. We all know that all matters exist in the form of gas, liquids, or solids. So in art making, we also use different chemical or physical materials. But most of the times we just use from liquids to solids. Very rarely we will use gas. So in this continuum, on one side it could be the very fluid liquid like watercolor paint, to powder or sand, then semi-liquids, solid like wood, clay. Okay. Third is the psychological properties of the material or the medium. In this continuum, the range of the materials spread from, on one end, some materials which have a more fluid or unstructured properties, such as ink or paint. When you apply ink or paint, they have no boundaries or it is very unstructural. All the way to the other end, which has a more resistive properties, like when you draw a line, you will see that there's a defined shape or boundary. But you draw using the boundary becomes more loose. Yeah? Fourth, the contextual properties of the material or the medium. So in this continuum, the materials ranges from those that have cultural, historical, or social meanings to something that is just personal or individual. We all do things differently. It's the same for making art. These different ways of making art relate to our body, how we feel, sense, move, act or react, our mind, how we think, perceive, remember or behave, our soul, how we believe, dream or imagine. The art-making process is fluid. The media or the idea is always in a state of becoming. This process is like being in an in-between space with no clear boundaries. Some people may feel scared or frustrated because they are more familiar with a structure. Others may feel rejuvenated or relaxed because the process is dynamic, creative or liberating. Secondly, it has to do with the quality and quantity. Good quality materials or tools are important to facilitate the therapeutic process because they can bring pleasures, satisfaction, or make us feel proud. For the quantity of materials, ample supplies of materials mean that we will not waste the materials and it helps to build our resourcefulness. Thirdly, how our body interacts with the media or material. The diversity of material and tools and the quality of the physical space for art making are also important factors to optimize the potential for various expressions. For example, the tools we choose express different feelings. Using hands to paint directly may promote intimacy for one but create a sense of disgust for another. Therefore, having choices of materials or media will allow more ways to channel our emotions. Fourthly, understanding human development is helpful. If the materials is below the developmental abilities, the art maker may feel that the process is demeaning or frustrating. But if the material is just right or slightly challenging for the art maker, it can be stimulating and enriching. Lastly, a material has a relationship with the art maker. A material is just like a person. Therefore, it can be unpleasant or attractive to the art maker based on the art maker's personal preference, history, or cultural backgrounds. These will influence the way the art maker uses the material or how the material evokes feelings in the art maker. Lastly, I would just like to highlight that in the context of art as therapy, there is no right or wrong material, media, or process. Do not judge yourself or someone on the choice of material or processes. Today we are going to do this art activity to explore material, media and process. First of all, we will create a dice. There are many templates to make a dice online. You can also go and download it and then just print it out. It will give you something like this. Okay, we have created two dices. One is for process and the other is for material or media. For the dice to explore process, I have motion, emotion, sensation, thoughts, symbol, and imagination. Okay? And for the dice to explore materials or media, I have 3D arts, watercolor or paint, pencil, pen, craft, and free choice. Alright, so let's play with the process first. Sensation, alright? Okay, I've got sensation today. Let's try to explore one emotion, maybe frustration. Okay, so how do I express frustration with sensation? Okay, yeah, I have gotten some recycled paper, some twigs, branches, tree branches, some very old fabric, and also some dry leaves that I have been collecting. I think these materials help me to think of these frustrated feelings. It's like the knots that I have tied here with different materials all tied up together. There are also some very complicated thoughts here, which are represented by this entanglement interweave with some nature and also some man-made materials. It's very complex, complicated, and entangled. This is how I would express this feeling of frustration with sensations. Now I'm going to try with another process. Let's roll the dice. I've got motion with me this time. If I'm going to express this same feeling of frustration, how am I going to express it with motion? Maybe I'll try to use a pen or a pencil. This time, instead of express my frustrations, how it looks like, I'm going to release the feeling of frustration. So I found that just now I tried to use this motion with a pencil to express these frustrated feelings. I have tried to use my energy, and after a while I feel all my energy has been released onto the paper. I feel much better. And then I was thinking about these frustrated feelings and slowed down, and then I did this dotting. When I compare the dotting with the scribbling and very intensive motion, the two processes help me to release these frustrated feelings very differently. Let us explore the dice for material or media. Oh, I've got free choice. I've gotten some scrap paper, color paper, and there are also some origami paper. So maybe I'll just take a few pieces of paper. So now maybe we'll explore this feeling of being happy. This is a piece of work that I use. Free choice of materials to express this feeling of being happy. These two dices you can actually play together also with the process and materials together. So when you throw these two dices, it will give you one process and one material. For instance, like this. Can we explore an emotion through sensations with watercolor? Or can we express the same emotions or different emotion with a pencil through the action or motion? So I hope this 6-in-1 art game can help you to gain more ideas and be more creative in exploring the art making with different material, media, and processes. We have come to the end of today's session. To summarize, we have learned about material, media, and process and how we understand them in a continuum. I also shared their psychological or emotional impact in art as therapy. Lastly, we explored with different materials or processes and how they affect our emotions. Thank you for watching and see you next time.